Gamers, here we are in the simulacrum. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to spawn a bunch of corrupted heavy gunners to show off what this Warframe can do. So we're going to spawn 20 of them. We're going to put them at level 100 because 155 is a little bit too much. Not that you can't deal with them, however, but just because we don't want to have to bother with killing them. So anyway, we're going to spawn them. So Wisp, unlike basically every other Warframe in the game, she's actually quite different in oh wow, we gotta get rid of Helios in quite in a good way. Her kit's very unique and very good for the most part. Apart from her 4, quite honestly, her 4 is the weakest link here, sadly. But we're gonna show off what her abilities do as I jump off the map, like you do. She's quite simple. So we should start this off now. Her 2, you see a bunch of enemies over there, but you don't really feel like running. So you take her 2 and you cast it out and you go full lazy mode and then it teleports you. But if you press your 2 and hold it down, it makes it go faster so you can teleport quicker. So that's her 2, pretty simple. Her 1 and her 3, however, are kind of the meat and potatoes. It's nice to have that movement ability, but one of the 3 are what makes Wisp Wisp. So Wisp's 1 has 3 little buffs. If you tap one, it switches between what buff is active. So right now we have the Vitality Reservoir active, and that's what we place down. So with her 1 down, it gives us a health boost based off of your power strength. So we now have 987 health, which is nice. Place haste down, increases our movement speed and our fire rate. So now when we speed around, zip around, we run faster and also shoot faster. So if we switch this to auto, fire pretty quick. Her shock is a little less obvious, but as you see, it does a little stun enemies when you walk past them. If you have this buff active, it shocks the enemies around you. Not as useful, but it's still pretty decent because it's good CC. Now her 3 is an interesting ability. So if we press 3 over here, as you can see, it stuns a bunch of those enemies. I'm pretty sure this opens them up for finishers. Guess it does it? No, I don't think it does actually. But it stuns the enemies. And if we press 3 again on our reservoirs, it increases the range of the stun and stuns enemies by the reservoirs as well, which is pretty fucking good. So as you can see, her buffs are really powerful. Her 3 is great CC, and it also has some great synergy with her 1, which increases the range of her CC, making these 2 abilities some of the best design abilities in the game. Now her 1 works in a way where if you're standing in the zone, you get that buff infinitely for as long as the zone's there. If you run out, if you can see in the top right, there's a countdown going down that scales off of your duration, which will decrease obviously based off of the seconds it has left. So yeah, the other thing with her reservoirs is you can only have 6 out at a time. So we got 1, 2, 3, there's 4 in the bottom left you can see. Here's 5, and here's 6. Now, having multiple of the reservoirs out does not increase the effectiveness of the reservoirs, but it increases the total area which they can cover. So a smart thing to do with Wisp is she's really good for interception type missions. So if you're on an interception, you got 4 guys on each point, each holding their point. You could drop a Vitality Reservoir on all 4 of those points, and then you could double up on 2 of them. So for me, what I like to do is I put a Vitality Reservoir on every single point. So that means everybody's getting a healing buff as long as they're standing on the point. And with the other 2, I'll put a speed buff, usually on opposite ends of the map, just so it's a little more even. So if someone wants to speed up and get to the other side to help a teammate out, that kind of thing. So she's a really good frame in general. Now, her 4, on the other hand, is not as good. We'll show it off here real quick, get some energy. It's quite energy drainy here, but just to go over it, because it's important. So we hit 4. Boom! The damage is not that great. It's okay. It's not the best. Now, this works kind of like Revenant's 4, where if you hold left click down, it does more damage. So this is me not holding my left mouse button down. This is me holding it. As you can see, it gets a little bit bigger, and it does a little bit more damage. The way it works as well is it also synergizes with her little eggplants that she drops. They give her 4 a little bit more damage. However, it's still not that good. It's like pretty decent, but your weapons are going to kill the enemies faster. Like, it's not bad damage, but it's bad compared to your weapons. So the use case isn't super good unless you're trying to do a lot of damage to fodder enemies, so like corrupted lancers and that kind of thing. If there's a big room full of them, it's quite useful. But other than that, your weapons for enemies like this are going to kill them much faster, as you can see. Look how much faster that is. Yeah, so just compared to that, you know, it's significantly less damage than just shooting them. So that's basically how Wisp's abilities work. It's pretty simple. Looks a little more complex than it really is. You just got to keep in mind to keep those reservoirs up, keep your buffs up, and as long as you can pay attention to your buff bar, she's a pretty easy frame and one of the most valuable frames you can have in a party. So let's get into the build real quick. It's pretty simple, nothing too crazy. I've built more for her buffs than anything else here. I do need to forma her again, just because I'd like to fit a different Exilus mod in there, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with this build. So on Wisp, we're using the default polarity, which is corrosive projection here for our aura. We're using Modus Signal, again, because I need a former again, and I need, you know, Exilus I'll leave to last. But what I would probably put in here instead is Power Drift, because it increases the effectiveness of our buffs. Blind Rage, more strength, better buffs. Streamline, a little bit of efficiency to counteract that Blind Rage. Prime Continuity, ability duration, keeps our buffs active more. Adaptation, because you don't need Vitality on this frame at all. It's completely a wasted mod slot, in my honest opinion, because of her huge buff that her 1 gives her to her health. It's not necessary to run Vitality. Stretch gives more range on her 1, which is very useful, and more range on her stun. Augur Reach increases, again, more range. Augur Message, more duration, and these 2 mods have a synergy with each other, so that's always good. And Intensify for more damage, more strength. So, pretty simple. I also run Guardian because Guardian is kind of a no-brainer. And Energize, because Energize, again, kind of a no-brainer. But if you don't have these arcanes, you can throw whatever you have on there, whatever you want on there. Arcanes are usually an afterthought for the most part, and they're a nice little sprinkle on top of the icing. So, this is Wisp. She's really good. I really like her, and I really like her weapon as well. We'll talk about it in another video. I'll leave secrets for that. But, super good, super happy with how she looks. She colors really well. Her abilities work great. They work great for your team. They work great for you. She does a fuck ton of damage. She's super fun. Really happy with this frame. Remember, guys, if you like the video, leave it a like. Make sure to subscribe for more content. And dislike the video if you hate everything about what I just said or you think my build sucks. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.